Hello everyone, welcome to um, our online classroom. Today we will be talking about the digital self, which is the last part and lesson of our discussion for unpacking the self. And we will be discussing the very last one, which is less stress, more care, or more practical tips for you to survive stressful situations, because I know that all of us do encounter stressful situations. So, without further ado, let's now begin. So, class, the number of people who are becoming more active online continues to increase worldwide. You know that, right? So, more than half of the population worldwide now uses the internet, and the Philippines is actually one of the countries with the most active online users. So, kita ang number one online, not really number one, but we are so active in a sense na 99.9%, murag bacteria lang, murag alcohol lang, no? That where everyone, virtually every one of us is already on the internet, or has one form of social media or the other. Okay, so what's the implication of all these? Having so much online, or being one of the countries with so much online usage, creates like an effect of in the trickling down of all these constructs and all these effects. Bottom line is, people assume different identities while in the cyberspace. Okay, so people actually act differently while they're online and offline. So we have our real identity and we have our online identity. Okay, so this is what we call the selective self-presentation and impression management. So in that sense, most if not all people adopt the mechanisms of selective self-presentation and impression management, and we will discuss that in the next slide. So oftentimes, class, we do self-presentation to construct positive self-images, especially on social media, and we try to provide information about ourselves that selectively and carefully caters this information in response to others' feedback. So, feedback in a sense ng mga comments, numbers of likes, numbers of shares, no? So, according to Goffman class and Leary, self-presentation is the process of controlling how one is perceived by other people. So, let me get my magical red pointer. Okay. So, if you stick by in the middle, no? Or in the end, I will say something. Di siya importante sa subject, pero it's a secret between you and me in the middle or in the last part. Okay? So, next we have personal identity. Personal identity is the interpersonal level of self which differentiates the individual as unique from others, while social identity is the level of self whereby the individual is identified by his or her group members. So in the digital self, or in the digital world, it's so much as so mimics and imitates the social world. So again, we discuss now the sociological perspective and the psychological perspective. We have the real self, the authentic self, the social self, and the authentic self. Okay, and the digital world and the digital space mimics that of the social world, no, or the world that we really perform and navigate towards in our day-to-day lives. But the difference is, yes, we can control how we view ourselves in the social world and the online world, but there are constructs, there are phenomenon that we cannot do socially in the real world that we can do in the online world, and we will talk about that. And it's actually here, no, the disinhibition effect. Now, anything that we post online, class, should be considered public no matter what our privacy settings are. Because maglutaw-lutaw ra gini mong data, class, and even if you delete it, it's still there. We leave digital footprints and it can never be erased. So what you post online should and is there forever. Okay? So nowadays we have an extraordinary era of self-portraiture. So blogs and web pages are used actually for self-reflection and self-presentation. So Facebook Facebook and other social media accounts are actually now part of self-presentation for according to research or according to my material, 1/6 of humanity. So as a result, class, there is the danger of oversharing. Okay? So, sometimes makakita na ka mga rants sa imong classmates that are already about sa family na, no? And wala na ba mo labot anan? No, kaya di ba mo part sa ilahang family, pero nalabot na noon mo. Napag ito joke, di ba, na ang mga mag-uyag, masigig post ilahang mga lovey-dovey pics, then kalit lang nagipag-delete ilang mga pictures, ilang mga account sa Instagram, 'di ba? And then ma-confuse na lang ta kay wala tay update ngano nagbuwag sila. 'Di ba dapat update pud mi kay nagsubaybay mi sa inyong love story, 'di ba? Okay? And there is now class what we call the FOMO, or the fear of missing out. So if we do in fact try to stay away, sige na ko kikap sa banks, no? Okay. Kuan. Anyway, if we try to stay away for a while from social media, there is we kind of experience FOMO, or the fear of missing out. So why do we experience this? Because we like to remain updated, and we like to keep on sharing ourselves online, and it actually adds sort of like a sense of confidence if others like and share our posts. So sorry. So yeah, so na fear of missing out. So we feel like if a few days or months lang ta dili maka-online, feeling nato wala na ta kasabot sa world. Kilid na ako niya kung bank, so feel na ko na adjoy nagkuan. Anyway, so mo to siya, no, naatay FOMO, where in fact when you actually deactivate social media for a few weeks, for months and years, you just really miss out very little things and the non-essential things. But we still have this tendency na if mawala na ko sa social media, kay dili na ko catch up sa world, dili na ko kakuan, dili na ko kasabot, I don't know what will now go on, mga gana, diba? And we also have the disinhibition effect. Unsa nang disinhibition effect, class? Okay? So the disinhibition effect also contributes, okay? Because it is the lack of face-to-face gaze meeting, or there's a sense of anonymity that gives people or gives users more freedom for self-disclosure. So we mentioned that there's the tendency to overshare online, and that's also because of the disinhibition effect, because we feel like we're hidden by a mask. Kay lahi atong profile picture, lahi ato ang pangan sa Facebook, without knowing that what you actually post online, be it small or big effect, it will still affect a number of people. Okay? It will still ripple, no? There is still an effect. So mo na siyang sometimes makaligtaan jud sa mga tao, no? And most likely the cause of, or one of the causes, or one of the effects of disinhibition effect is the tendency for people to cyberbully and say hateful things online as if walay tao behind that screen. Okay? So we have here a question: why do we confess our feelings and thoughts online? So according to Foucault, I don't know how that's pronounced, confession along with contemplation and self-examination, learning, reading, and writing self-critical letters to friends are part of the technologies of the self, through which we seek to purge and cleanse ourselves. So confessing our feelings and thoughts online are actually sort of cathartic in a way. Especially if nobody, di ba, natay mga finsta, dito ta mag-rant. Oh, I know because I have a younger sister na ka-age ninyo. Okay, so natay finsta, natay blog post, Tumblr, online diaries, right? So according to him, it's part of technology, is a technology of the self, wherein it helps us cleanse, it helps us reflect, it helps us have this cathartic feeling of self-expression. Okay? So, class, the internet isn't really a bad thing. You know that. It's a tool that once, depende sa paggamit ninyo, it can be good and it can be bad. The internet provides a positive feedback loop in the brain, which includes the number and feedback that provides self-validation. So, we feel or we have our self-esteem increased if our pictures are liked about 100 times, 200, 300, na uban maabot og 1K no kana mga famous, di ba? So it creates a self-validation. It increases our self-esteem. Confessional blogs may be therapeutic as well. Okay, as I told you, it creates a cathartic effect na you want to be heard, but you don't want to be heard by a lot of people. Just a few number of people, and if possible, strangers, diba? So, it creates a cathartic effect. And there is also a great fulfillment when one expresses self online. Okay? And lastly, of course, the internet is positive in a way because it provides entertainment. Okay? Like TikTok, right? Alam na, TikToker ang iyong sis. So, TikTok class, entertainment, not only educational but also entertainment, pero puno po siya fake news, so be careful. Again, as I mentioned, Facebook as well, no, very helpful as well, but it can also have a lot of entertainment. So for one, I could not find a very relatable meme other than there in Facebook. Okay, so Facebook ako kitag mga funny jud kay na meme class. And yeah, that's it. So it provides entertainment. But, and there's a big but, okay? We should have a filtering system to whatever information, carefully whether they're valid and true before believing and promoting them. And I would emphasize on this one again and again and again, because we're now into a point in our world where we're going there. We're going digital, we're going very advanced, and every day and every week there is something new na magawas, some new technology that will blow our minds. So we need to be very careful in using these tools, and we try our best to just reap out the positive effects of internet, of the digital world, and of social media. Okay? So thus, I present to you smart sharing, or setting boundaries to your online self. Okay, so this is the triple filter test. So if you don't know this, you will know it now. Asa man kumulugar, asa ta mo adto, diri lang ta ha, kilid lang ta. Oh, so before sharing any information online or offline, ask yourself these questions first. Number 1, is it true? Is it kind? And is it useful? Those are the very na questions. So let me tell you a short story. So in ancient Greece class, around 469 to 399 BC, si Socrates, he was widely known for his wisdom. So one day, an acquaintance went to him and asked, Socrates, kibaw ka? What I just heard about Diogenes, diba? Marites niya yung kuan class, iyahang kuan acquaintance. Yan na si Socrates, kay, wisdom, yan na siya, no? Wait a moment. Before you tell me, I'd like you to pass a little test. It's called a triple filter test. Niya na-shock ang acquaintance. Siya, triple filter? What's not triple filter? What's that? Okay, number 1. Before you talk to me about Diogenes, let's take a moment to filter what you're going to say. The first filter is the truth. Have you made absolutely sure? Are you 100%, 101, 104% sure that what you're about to tell me is true? So, tana si Diogenes. Ana ang yang acquaintance, no. Actually, no, nadunggan na to na ako. I just heard about it, okay? Alright, ana si Socrates. So, you don't really know if it's true or not? Now, let's try the second filter. Okay, the filter of goodness, of kindness. Is what you're about to tell me about Diogenes something good? Will it benefit you? Will it benefit me? Or will it benefit him? Or will it benefit other people? So, nana ang iyang friend or iyang acquaintance. Actually, on the contrary, niana na po si Socrates. Well, you want to tell me something about Diogenes that may be bad, even though you're not certain it's true? So, at this point, medyo nauwaw na gamay, no? Si Maritas, iyang friend. Bito, di ko sure ha sa name, nagkuhan lang ko. Now, ni continue si Socrates. So, okay. You may still pass the test. Though, because there's a third filter, and also ning third filter, the filter of usefulness. So what you want to tell me about Diogenes going to be useful to me, or will it be useful to you, or will it be useful to somebody if not to me or to you? And then a young friend, no, dili gyud siya actually useful. Okay, so naana si Socrates, well, if you want to tell me, or if what you want to tell me is not true, if it isn't kind and it's not good and it's not useful, then so why tell it to me or to anyone else? Okay, so basically you're just spewing garbage, and I'm about to get your garbage, and ako na po yung magunit sa imong garbage. Okay, ako na ningon ato class, di na si Socrates ha. So that is the short story class. Okay, and mo to siya, no? First, I know this is quite challenging to practice kaning filter test, but like a muscle, if you keep on practicing it, you will sort of like apply it in a way na dili na nimo i-think. Okay, so number 1, true, ask first, no, kung naay chismis about ni ko ano kay kaan, grabe ba kay ni ka chismo sa mga silingan, no, labi nagnay mabuntis, di ba? Murag sila'y mga anak o sila'y magbuhi sa bata ay gining buntis, no? Anyway, we cannot blame that, that's our culture. So katuwaan lang ni class ha. So if for example machismis, no, na ay nabuntis daw, no, naay kuan ito silingan, makimarites, no, punta na, is it true? Sure ka true? Basig busog lang kaayo to gikan ha. Basig na mista gikan yan, dako ang tiyan. Or basig 3 days na way libang-libang niya, dako ang tiyan. Okay? So, ask first if it's true. Oh, sige. Muangon tag, oh, tinuod gyud. Kita jud ko na dako iyang tiyan. Next, is it good? Okay? So, let's say na lang na it's neutral, so it does not harm anybody. Let's just say. And last but not the least, is it useful? Would sharing that, nakakita ka na dako iyang tiyan, ya, possibly daw na buntis, will that be useful to you or to the person that you're sharing it with? Okay, if di useful, ayun na lang, no? Just keep it to yourself. Okay? So, same po na sa online sharing. Okay? When you see a post in Facebook and kita mo na mura bardagulan session lang, try to check first if it's true. So, okay, kita ka na nagkuan si kasi pangana ng kuan ni Zebi class. Basta kakapoy. So, panalitan. Kita mo post ana niya. Okay? So, is it true? Okay, so let's say it's true. Is it kind? Okay, virtually it's not really, possibly it's not kind. Is it useful? Okay, na kamo na bahala na. Basig useful para ninyo, no? Kay katuwaan, entertainment, again, is up to you, no? Kung sa imong definition sa useful. Okay, so always, you have this mechanism, you have this tool already. I presented this to you, so try to go about your day, online, offline, and use this triple filter test. Alright, class? Amen. Okay, next. Smart sharing. Okay, further going deeper into this one. So, first, is the post or story necessary? So, is there a real benefit to this post? Is it funny? Okay, let's say it's funny, it's entertainment to kang kuano. So, gi-post nimo. Okay, kay necessary for your entertainment purposes, relaxation. Is it warm-hearted? Is it teachable? Or am I just making noise online without any purpose? Okay, so there's a lot of pollution in the world. Apil na siyang pollution sa online world, no? So, let's minimize our pollution, class, maski sa online world ng pod. Next, for people who like to rant their problems online, have you resolved it as a family? Because the people or the strangers that can read it, they don't have any business dealing with your family. There are 2 things that will happen there. The people na imuhang ingnan og bati online, say for example your mother, nag-away mo, you probably will forgive your mother, but the people that have heard your story will never forgive your mother for what she did. Okay, in the first place, di na nila inahan. So, if ang inyong personal problem is between you and your mother, keep it to your circle, keep it to your closest confidant, and keep it to your family. No need for strangers to go and double into your family business, okay? And you have the power to control that. Okay, balinta dere. And next, we have, is it appropriate? Will what you share online remain within the boundaries of your family values? What can you say about sharing sex scandals? So this is very particular, class. And one of the issues here in the Philippines, good, no? Sharing of sex scandals. Ang bati pagit, class, ang dautan is ang babae good na always, no? How about the perpetrators? How about, let's say the recording was consensual, pero who spread it? Was it consensual too? Di ba dili na? Because that's how the sex scandal is spread. Okay? So why is it na ang mga babae mangyod ang madautan, no? Especially in virtually any culture in the world. Okay? So is it appropriate that you share those kind of videos? Okay? And lastly, is this funny thing timeless? Do you think it will still be funny 5, 10, or 15 years from now? Or do you think it would still be funny if it results in a suicide of a person? Okay? So, would it be better if this joke is shared within a very few circle of you na makasabot na joke ra siya and dili siya ma-misinterpret? I know that this generation is oftentimes called the snowflake generation, but what they don't understand is that this generation has experienced and has digested more problems that they could handle that their teenage brain could handle. So what I would like to say for people na have viewed this video na medyo tiguang na gamay, give them a slack. Okay? Give them a slack. They consumed media that's more mature for their brain. And what I'm saying more mature is mga problems sa world na dapat unta dili nila hunahunaon. And they experience it now because of how sa may term, how fast information is received online now because of the digitalization of information. Okay? So, yeah, so that's it. Anyway, breathe sa muna. Medyo na serious. Pero need ko to siya seriousness, class, na, because we have increasing rates of suicide and depression because of cyberbullying and because of unmitigated consumption of media. So if you feel like na down na ka and terribly na affect na mong mental health, take a social media break. Stick to safer sites, guard your passwords. So limit what you share. Remember that what you share online or post on a site is there forever. And do not be mean or embarrassed to other people online. Be choosy about your online friends, class. Nakasuway na kog online stalker mo na ako na gid private. Sometimes di na jud ko mag usahay mo tan-aw jud ko if kaila ba gyud nako ang moad nako, no? So be careful. Be careful good. And lastly, be patient. Okay, ngano man ni miss? Patient is a virtue. Apil lang ba ni dinhi? Okay, so if you're patient, so you have the patience to search for other search for other sources to verify the fact. Okay, fact, quotation mark pa kay di pa ta sure if fact or di. So patience is a good thing to strengthen, because it's very good in ma-apply siya in any way and every way. Okay, in learning something, in waiting for someone, in your attitude towards relationships, works, academics, no? So it's virtually patience is a virtue gyud. Okay, and this is a video that I would like you to watch. So basically, he talked about why he quit social media, no? And I did experience quitting social media for about a year or so. And I would say that I have never felt so alive. karon class, I'm also trying to quit social media now, and using it intentionally. So kamo class, if you could limit your social media use and use it intentionally. Social media is like a tool, and I would repeat it again and again. Depende lang yun na sa paggamit ninyo on how you can reap the benefits ra, and try not to get the negative effects sa social media. Naa pa ba ko'y wala na storya about social media? Guess wala naman class. And I guess that's it. We will now end this one here, and use your social media wisely. Okay? Again, if wala na, maglisod na mo, you feel like naapektuhan na inyong mental health, deactivate your social media, let's say for a month lang, and then balik, kaginhawa na mo. Okay? Kung grabe na kay ka-stressful ang world. Okay, and that's it. See you next meeting. May say mo secret na yung giingon sa first part. So, yung secret na giingon class is, kanibitaw ko ang earrings class, kay di ba di siya earring? O, kasi makatagan kung unsa gyud di siya. O, di ni siya earrings gyud. Ang tinuod ani is, hairpin ni siya. May nami imong secret with Marto class. Thank you everyone, and as always, have fun learning.